Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Se Panca Tattva mili prithvi asya. Purva Prema Bhandarera Mudra Udhagdiya. Se Pancha Tattva mili prithvi asya. Purva Prema Bhandarera Mudra Ughadiya. Se Pancha Tattva mili prithvi asya. Purva Prema Bandhane Purva Prema Bandharera Mudra Ughadiya. Very loudly, please. Se Pancha Tattva mili prithvi asya. Purva Prema Bandharera Mudra Ughadiya. Se Pancha Tattva mili prithvi asya. Purva Prema Bandharera Mudra Ughadiya. Panchatattva. 5 truths. Mili. Combined together. Prithvi. And this earth. Asya. Descending. Purva. Original. Prema. Bandharera. The store of transcendental love. Mudra. Seal. Ugadiya. Opening. Panche mile lutte prema kori ashwadan. Yata yata piye Krishna bade anukshan. Pancha mili. Mixing together all these 5. Lute. Plunder. Prem. Love of Godhead. Kori aswadana. Taste. Yatta yatta. As much as. Piye. Drink. Trishna. Thirst. Badhe. Increases. Anukshana. Again and again. The characteristics of Krishna are understood to be a storehouse of transcendental love. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna when he was present, it was sealed. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates of the Panchatattva, they broke the seal and plundered the storehouse to taste transcendental love of Krishna. The more they tasted it, the more their thirst grew for it. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Maha-vadanyaya avatar because although he is Sri Krishna himself, he is even more favorably disposed to the poor fallen souls than Lord Sri Krishna When Lord Sri Krishna himself was personally present, he demanded that everyone surrender unto him and promised that he would give one all protection. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this earth with his associates, he simply distributed transcendental love of God without discrimination. Sri Rupa Goswami therefore could understand that Lord Chaitanya was none other than Sri Krishna himself, for no one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can distribute confidential love of the Supreme Person. I'm very grateful to be with you again. Today we are celebrating Gaur Purnima. On this day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended from the spiritual world upon this earth to perform his pastimes. Srila Prabhupada is citing Rupa Goswami, who is explaining the nature of Lord Chaitanya's lila in this world. Namo Maha-vadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaya Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratveshi Namah. We have chanted this beautiful sloka, Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Deena-bandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. Krishna is Karuna Sindhu, means he is an ocean of mercy, compassion, kindness. And the scriptures describe the nature of this ocean. It has no shores, it has no bottom. It is unlimited. And although it is unlimited, it is ever expanding. We cannot cross this ocean. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described to Rupa Goswami that Krishna's love and a description of bhakti or devotion to Krishna is a limitless ocean. But even a particle of a single drop from that ocean can totally flood the entire universe. This is hard to comprehend with our logical 21st century Kali-yuga brain substance. But with faith, it can be revealed and we can grasp it. A limitless ocean that has no boundaries, no bottom. And yet, a particle of a single drop from that ocean can completely inundate and flood the entire universe. That is Krishna, Karuna Sindhu. That is the nature of his love for us. And he reciprocates. Bhakti means the reciprocation of the love between Krishna and his devotee. Bhakti doesn't mean just some abstract concept of devotion that helps us to become liberated. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu begins his principles of bhakti by teaching Jivera Swarupoik Krishnara Nitya Das, that we are eternally servants of Krishna. Bhakti is to serve with love. And when we serve with love, love that is ahoitaki apratihata, unmotivated by selfish interests or any type of egoism. Love that is for the pleasure of Krishna. Samsiddhyad haritoshana. If it is actually for the pleasure of Krishna, it will not be disturbed or interrupted by circumstances. Because that love is not reciprocated on the basis of material conditions or circumstances. It is the exchange of the will to please the beloved. And for one who tastes the sweetness of Prema or love of God, or one who truly wants to experience that, then the circumstances in this world, Krishna says, patram pushpam palam toyam. If one even offers me a leaf, a flower, a little water, or a fruit, with devotion, I will accept it. Now, usually you need hands to make an offering. But actually, if your hands are cut off, it's not an impediment. Now, how do you offer a leaf without your hands? You're not supposed to do it with your feet. But even if they cut off your feet, well, maybe then I can offer on the top of my head. But even if they cut off your head, there's no impediment. You can say, well, I'll offer it with my heart. But even if they do a surgery and take out your heart, still there's no impediment. Because it's the soul's nature. When we have the will to please Krishna, and whatever we use, our heart and our brain and our head and our hands and our feet, Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo, they are all meant simply for pleasing Krishna. This world is actually a fantastic, beautiful spiritual place if we see that whatever we're given are just items that can be used to facilitate beautiful offerings to Krishna. Then we see the spiritual nature of this universe. But as long as we're trying to enjoy individually or collectively, independent of that natural quality of the soul to love and please Krishna, then it really is the material world. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshana darshana. That in this material world, birth, old age, and disease and death come on everyone. It's a place where there's so much misery. But a devotee sees the same things that are causes of misery to one who is an illusion. A devotee sees those same as opportunities to grow in our bhakti by utilizing them for the proper purpose. This is yukta vairagya. The highest renunciation is not just this body's a lump of ignorance, let it die. Because if you have that consciousness, then it will die again and again and again, and it will be born again and again and again. This body is Krishna's property. As long as there's a single heartbeat or a tiny little breath that's in this body, let me use it for Krishna. And it's that will that is bhakti. And that will is expressed with whatever potential we have. Krishna appeared in this world, and he is ocean of mercy. unlimited ocean of mercy. And he's also Deena-bandhu. That means he's most kind and as a friend to those who are in the most lamentable condition. It's one of the favorite names of Krishna, Deena-bandhu. Because we're all very fallen. And our only qualification to get out of our fallen condition is that Krishna is the friend of the fallen. But ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamya. Krishna reciprocates according to how we approach him. If we're in a fallen condition and we simply try to figure things out ourselves and make our own solutions, then whether through virtuous activities or unvirtuous activities, we perpetuate that condition. Daiviheshu gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Mame vamya prapadyante mayam eta durantite. This material nature of three modes is very, very difficult to overcome. This divine nature of Krishna. But one who takes shelter of the Lord can easily cross over it. The Srimad Bhagavatam tells that this ocean of material existence, which is impossible for any mortal to cross over, when we take shelter of Murari or Krishna, it becomes the same quantity of water that is contained within hoofprint of calf. That is how Krishna is Deena-bandhu, Jagat-pate. He's the Lord of the universe, and he's the friend of everyone, if we turn to him. Krishna comes to this world again and again. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirabhavati bharata. Just to remind us that he's our friend and he's within our heart and he's waiting for us. Just turn to me. Since time immemorial, you've been chasing after the mirages of this world that are giving you false promises for happiness and for peace. Just turn to me. I will uncover the illusion of Maya, and you will see your eternal existence and your love for me. And even greater than that, you will experience my love for you. That is bhakti. It is relationship. But Rupa Goswami is teaching us that Lord Chaitanya is even more magnanimous than Krishna. How is that possible? How can anyone be more merciful than that person who is an unlimited ocean of mercy? How can anyone be more kind to the fallen than Deena-bandhu Jagat-pate, the Supreme Lord of everything, who's the friend of everyone? It's impossible. Can anyone be more merciful than Krishna? It's impossible. But Krishna is achintya. That means he's inconceivable. Krishna makes the impossible possible, while it remains impossible. This is the logic of bhakti. And this particular verse that we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is explaining how the all-merciful can be more merciful than the all-merciful, even though he's the same person, but he's appearing as different people. And not just one person, but 5 people. And yet that 5 people are one person. And that one person is none different than one person who is 2 people. And it's eternal. Whatever I just said, it's all eternal. He's describing here the Panca Tattva, who is the one Supreme Lord Krishna who has appeared in 5 features as Lord Chaitanya and his loving, intimate expansions and associates. And he's described here that when Krishna appeared in this world, the characteristics of Krishna are understood to be a storehouse of transcendental love. Now again, in the eternal realm, a storehouse means no beginning, no end, no limitation to the supply. Now how big would you have to make a go-down for unlimited supplies that are ever expanding? That is the storehouse of love of God, that Krishna brought this storehouse with him when he came to this world. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna when he was present, it was sealed. Hare Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada in this purport explains, Krishna performed his pastimes in Vrindavan. And then later he went to Mathura and to Dwarka. And in the meanwhile he went to Kurukshetra and spoke Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita is the essence, the summary study of all the knowledge of all the Vedas, of all the scriptures, of all creation. And it culminates, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishami masuja. In the 18 chapters of Bhagavad-gita, Krishna explains such detailed knowledge and how to practically apply that knowledge to our life, whoever we are, wherever we're at. He describes the Isha Tattva, the nature of the supreme controller of all controllers, or God. The impersonal, all-pervading Brahman, the Paramatma, who is localized, sitting within the heart of every living being as our friend and witness, and Bhagavan, the supreme opulent personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, who's all attractive, and the ultimate object of love, and the ultimate lover, Isha Tattva. And he describes Shakti Tattva, the nature of his incredible energies. Parasya Shaktir Vivadaiva Shruyate, there are limitless energies of the Lord. And they're all coming from one energy, the Hladini Shakti, his energy which facilitates prema or love. And he describes the Jiva Tattva, the infinitesimal living beings who are all eternally subordinate to him. In the Upanishads, there is the beautiful verse, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahonam Yobadadati Kama. There is one supreme eternal who is like the sun. And there are limitless, infinitesimal eternals who are like the sun rays emanating from the sun. The jivas, the limitless eternals who we are eternally subordinate to the one supreme eternal. Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Krishna tells, all living beings are part and parcel of me, qualitatively one with me, eternal, full of knowledge of bliss, quantitatively different. Quantitatively, the Lord is always the supreme source of everything, the complete whole, and we are forever His loving parts. The loving part in its perfected stage does not want to become Krishna, but wants to love Krishna and please Krishna. Krishna's opulences are so beautiful and so attractive. And He reveals those opulences just to attract our love. Krishna never falls into illusion. Krishna never forgets His supremacy. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvata. Krishna tells in Gita, I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. He's the controller of all controllers. Krishna is controlled by the love of his devotee, but that is by his own sweet will. Krishna, being subordinate to the love of his devotee, is only to increase his pleasure and the pleasure of his devotees. Now, for a jiva, when we forget our identity as eternal servants of Krishna, lovers of Krishna, we suffer in this world. We're subordinate to Maya. Yes? And some philosophers say, actually you are God. Well, if I'm God, why am I in such ignorance? And if that person's God, why is he killing people? And if that person's Krishna, why is he slaughtering cows and eating their meat? How could that be Krishna? He's just forgetful that he's Krishna. But when we forget, we have no capacity to come out of that forgetfulness. So how are we controllers of all controllers? How are we the Lord of all we survey? And when we forget, we suffer. When Krishna forgets, it's to increase his enjoyment. And if somebody says, well, actually, I'm just increasing my enjoyment. Anyone could talk like this. But is it making other people suffer, or being in anxiety, being frustrated? And so many little things frustrate us. Yes? Just one little thing doesn't go our way. We're so frustrated. We're controller of all controllers. Material nature is very embarrassing. If you're humble, it's not embarrassing. Because if you're humble, I know I'm just Krishna saved me. But if we have this pride that I am God, then in the middle of your speech talking about how you're God, you have to leave to pass stool. So what is that? We never see, Krishna didn't do that in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna is the controller of all controllers. But in order to actually when we really understand how Krishna is Aishwaryasya Samagrasya, he's full of 6 opulences. He's complete beauty, complete fame, complete knowledge, complete wealth, complete fame, complete renunciation, and ultimately all of that supreme opulences is only meant for one purpose: to attract our love. And to love and love. For Krishna's to experience Krishna's love and to love Krishna. That's actually the one and single purpose of all existence. So simple. But we make things so complicated. So when we have some little infinitesimal particle of a drop of understanding of how beautiful and how wonderful Krishna is and Krishna's love is, there's no possibility for a devotee, I want to be God. We just want to serve God. We want to please God. We understand our complete dependence on Krishna. And that's where love really awakens. It is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Krishna appears within this universe of ours once in a day of Brahma, in his original transcendental form. There are 4 yugas. In each of these yugas, the Lord appears as a yuga avatar. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamya. And when the Lord appears, comes to establish true religion. And according to time, place, and circumstance, the Lord establishes the true religion that's accessible and practical to the people of that time. In Satya Yuga, the primary practice of religion is dhyan, meditation. Meditation on the form and the glorious qualities of the Lord. In Treta Yuga, it's performing of yajna, sacrifice. In Dwarpa Yuga, it is, according to the Narada Pancharatra, to perform the worship of the Lord in the temple, puja. And in Kali-yuga, it is kirtan, the chanting of the holy names. So this is all the different 4 yugas. The Lord comes specifically to teach these principles. In one day of Brahma, there are 71 Divya Yugas. A Divya Yuga is the 4 yugas, one full cycle. It's a long time. 71 Divya Yugas in one Manu. In a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. This is approximately a day of Brahma, 4,300,000,000 years. The Supreme Personality of Godhead from his abode of Goloka descends to this world once in a day of Brahma. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains why. That Krishna is thinking that he is especially pleased when he reciprocates with his devotees the 4 primary rasas, or mellows of love. Servitorship, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. Krishna is subdued by that love when it is not limited by the awareness of Krishna's supreme majestic greatness. In Vrindavan, Krishna, he is the friend, the child, and the lover of his devotees. So once in a day of Brahma, Krishna reveals these beautiful loving pastimes. He brings Yamuna with him from Goloka. He brings Govardhan. He brings the forest of Brajbhumi. And he brings his loving associates, Sri Radha, Lalita, Vishaka, Nanda, Yashoda, Sri Dama, Subala. And we read in Srimad Bhagavatam some of the beautiful pastimes of Krishna. So Krishna reveals these pastimes just to attract our hearts. And in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna tells the nature of God, the nature of the living entity, the nature of karma, the laws of action and reaction within creation. He tells the nature of how we are all under the influence of supreme power of time and material existence, prakriti. But after explaining so many wonderful topics, he concludes with this verse, Sarva dharma parityasya. If you really want to understand any of this, you must surrender to me. That's the seal. Anybody with some scholarship can study Krishna's Ras Leela and all the different technicalities of Ras. But to actually enter into that loving relationship with Krishna, it's only possible by Krishna's grace. It is the descending process. It can never understood just by our academic intellectual prowess, by our capacity to perform austerities, tapasya, however severe they may be. It's not possible by the quantity of charity that we may give. It's only possible by Krishna's grace. And Krishna reveals his grace according to our surrender. And what is surrender? That's the deepest subject, sharanagati. It means on the path of bhakti to actually give up our ego to please Krishna. It's the deepest subject. So Krishna performs his beautiful Ras Leela, and he performs his Gopa Leela with his cows and his cowherd boyfriends. He performs his Damodar Leela with Sri Yashoda Mai. But to actually understand in truth and enter into these pastimes, to realize them, there's a seal. And only Krishna can open that seal by his grace. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, he comes again to break that seal and make it accessible to everyone, to anyone, without discrimination, without concern of a person's birth, qualifications, disqualifications, or where they're from in the world. Through kirtan, he is distributing this love of God, this revelation of the higher rasas of Vrindavan. After Krishna disappeared from this world, he was thinking that in every age I come as the Yuga avatar, and now Kali-yuga is coming. The Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan. I will descend into this world to inaugurate the Yuga Dharma, and at the same time I will make the whole world dance. and enjoy the 4 rasas of Vrindavan. In order to do so, I will accept the role of a devotee. Teach by my own example. In the Gita it is said, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijanya paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharmasam stapanardaya sambhavami shuke shuke. That the Lord appears again and again and again whenever there's a rise of irreligion and a decline in irreligion. He comes to establish true religion, to protect his devotees, to annihilate the ignorance of miscreants. And Krishna also tells, Yad yadacharatistres tattad evitarojana. What great people do, common people follow. So Krishna was thinking, I myself will come in the form of my own devotee to set the example, to teach them how to love Krishna. Who knows better how to please Krishna than Krishna? Who knows better how to love Krishna than Krishna? And the absolute truth is one, but is forever in 2 forms. Radha Gopinath. Radha is the supreme lover. Who knows better how to love Krishna than Krishna? Radha. Who's Krishna? And who knows better how to please Krishna than Krishna? Radha. Who is Krishna? But is eternally Radha. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti Rashman. The absolute truth is one, but is eternally in this. So Lord Krishna appears with the love and the complexion of Sri Radha. The supreme devotee comes to show us, by example, how to be a devotee. Lord Chaitanya, he came to teach this Harinam Sankirtan, the Yuga Dharma, but he did it in a special way. Because generally, it's the plenary expansions and incarnations of Krishna that comes as the Leela avatars and the Yuga avatars. But Krishna was thinking that only I myself personally can bestow the loving, intimate relationships that have exclusively enjoyed by the residents of Vrindavan. So I will appear in the role of my topmost devotee, Sri Radha, in the role of a devotee to set by my example these highest principles, and I will appear in the land of Sri Nadia. Gargamuni in Srimad Bhagavatam, during the name-giving ceremony of Lord Krishna, he told Nanda Maharaj that this son of yours appears in the different yugas with different colors. He has appeared in a white complexion in Satya Yuga, red complexion in Treta Yuga. He appears in a yellow complexion in Kali-yuga, and now he's appearing in this very dark bluish complexion. Essentially, that's what he was saying. Krishna varnam tvisa krishnam sango panga saparshanam yagyai sankirtanapriyai yajanti hi sumedasa. The Bhagavatam tells that those who really have good intelligence, they worship the Supreme Lord through the congregational chanting of the holy names of God. In this age of Kali, Krishna is worshipped through the congregational chanting, and the Lord appears, not in a blackish complexion, although he's Krishna himself. So the great acharyas recognized that that beautiful golden form of the Lord is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he came along with his associates, the Panca Tattva, to break open the seal of love of Godhead, the treasure house of Krishna's Vrindavan Leela, and to distribute the contents. To set their example, Lord Chaitanya and his associates, they were chanting and dancing and tasting the sweetness, the nectar of love of God, the limitless nectar. They were thirsting for that nectar, and they were drinking it and drinking it and drinking it, and they were completely mad in the ecstasy of that love. But the nature of that love itself is compassion. Lord Chaitanya and his associates distributed this love of Godhead freely. The Srimad Bhagavatam tells, especially in this particular time that we're in, it's the best time to be born. Now, Satya-yuga, everything's really nice. Everyone's nice to each other in Satya-yuga. Every now and then there's a Hiranyakashipu. But otherwise, it's the golden age. People are all religious and they're spiritual and they're seeking self-realization and they have culture and they have manners. And more or less there's happiness. Death comes. But until death, there's more or less almost all happiness in everyone's life in Satya-yuga. In Treta-yuga, Dwapara-yuga, and Kali-yuga, the Iron Age, it's a time of quarrel. It's a time of hypocrisy. It's a time when our memory is really dismantled. Other yugas, you could remember everything. In Satya-yuga, you could remember every aspect of your life instantly. And they're all nice memories. Kali-yuga, it's Krishna's mercy we forget. There's so many bad memories, so many pains, and so many disappointments, and so many things. And our duration of our life is so short and so subjected to diseases and anxieties and terrorism and irreligion and cheating and so much materialism and greed and lust. When we read the newspapers, we think, who wants to live in Kali-yuga? There's rape and there's terrorism and there's imminent wars and there is wars. There's nuclear bombs pointed everywhere. It's very difficult. But the sages, they worship Kali-yuga. Why? Because in this age, the Lord comes as the Yuga avatar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and gives the highest thing. And all we have to do is really just accept it and follow what he's asking us to do. And he's willing to give us that in that storehouse of the love of God of the residents of Vrindavan. And Panca Tattva taught us by their example. And what was their example? Whenever they came together, they would just discuss Krishna. And whatever way they were doing, it was always intimately connected with the chanting of Krishna's names. And their greatest form of relationships with Krishna and with each other was Harinam Sankirtan. The Panca Tattva were chanting all night in the house of Srivas. And they were practically chanting and dancing most of the day. So please, Krishna. Gopi Bharatur Padakamaliyora Dasa 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 Anudas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught through his devotees, with himself. Everyone was the servant of all other servants. The internal reasons for Lord Chaitanya's coming was he wanted Krishna himself he desired to understand the glories of Radha's love. Because though Krishna is Rasa Bihari, he is the supreme enjoyer of all rasas. The type of transformations that he would see in the heart of Sri Radha and her love was something that he wanted to taste himself. And Krishna wanted to understand the wonderful qualities in himself that she alone could relish through her love. The Chaitanya Charitamrita describes Krishna's thinking, that his love is ever expanding and endless. And his qualities, his attractive features are limitless. And Sri Radha's love is like a mirror which reflects his beauty, his qualities, and his love. And when Krishna's all-attractiveness touches the mirror of Sri Radha and reflects, it expands even more so. Krishna wanted to taste the sweetness that Radharani tastes when she experiences his love. So these are the three internal reasons why the Lord appears. With the Mahabhav of Sri Radha and the beautiful complexion of Sri Radha. And the external reasons was to fulfill his words in the Gita that he descends again and again and again to establish true religion and to establish the Yuga Dharma. And there was another reason, which was made these other principles very, very personal. He descended to satisfy the desire of his devotee, Sri Advaita Prabhu. I'd like to briefly speak on this subject. The Lord descended into this world to taste the sweetness of Radha's love, to understand the glories of her love, and to understand his own attractive qualities from her perspective, and to taste the happiness she feels when she experiences his love. At the same time, in the mood of Sri Radha, he wanted to, as the supreme mother of compassion for all living beings, she wanted to distribute her love through the Yuga Dharma of the chanting of the holy names. Sri Advaita Prabhu, who is Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. He's the original Shiva, and he's the original Purusha avatar, who the entire universal creation is manifested from. He was living in Sri Navadvip Dham, Shantipura Navadvip, on the banks of the river Ganga. And he was seeing the condition of people, both virtuous and sinful, how they were all in the clutches of illusion, forgetful of their true spiritual identity. The nature of consciousness is we evaluate things according to our particular experience. A rich person sees poor people. We're talking about economic wealth. A rich person really feels sorry for poor people if he's attached to his riches. A poor person who's suffering may feel, I wish I could be like that rich person. So they're seeing things in a very different way. According to our particular state of consciousness, our particular condition, ego, we see the world. That's what material existence is. What's right and what's not right is very much subjective. According to our sex, according to the color of our skin, according to which religion we're in, according to which nation we're born in, according to our particular state of health, according to our academic qualifications, we very much see the world through the lens of those things, and everybody sees everything differently. Some grihastas look at brahmacharis and see those poor fools sleeping on the floor. They have degrees in IIT and they're sleeping on the floor and eating khichdi. What nonsense. Yes, and some brahmacharis look at grihastas, what poor fools. They going to work all day and slaving away for such a stupid, insignificant, useless thing as money. So everyone is seeing things in a different way. Americans, they come to India and they see millions of people watching cricket games. They're thinking, what, these people are wasting their time with cricket, which is useless. They don't understand what is cricket. I will confess, I've been in India for 45 years and I still can't figure out what cricket is. And when I see the people of India rejoicing over cricket, I think, so what? So material world, everything is very relative. But when one loves Krishna, one sees everything in respect to that love of Krishna. Advaita Acharya had ecstatic love for Krishna. He understood the joy of loving Krishna. He understood the complete liberated nature of love of Krishna. It's totally beyond birth and death, and it's pleasure and pain and all of these other things. There's two ways of explaining happiness. Sukha and ananda. Now generally, sukha is inseparable from dukkha. Griheta ko boneta ko boleta ko sukhe dukkhe bulona ko vadane harinam korore. This is Lord Chaitanya's message. Whether you have a wife or a husband and children and job, or whether you're a brahmachari sleeping on the floor and eating khichdi or living in the forest, doesn't matter. If you chant the holy names of the Lord, you go beyond sukhi dukkhi. You go beyond happiness and distress. Because param dristvani vartate, you experience something higher. You experience Krishna's love. That's beyond any limitations of time, death, anything. So when you actually are in that consciousness, Krishna consciousness, then seeing people enjoying the sukha of this world, the happiness of this world, almost makes you cry. Why? Not because you're jealous of them. Because you know that sukha is so limited. It's so circumstantial. It only touches the ever-changing bodily senses and mind, and there's nothing beyond. And very quickly, it will become dukkha. It will become suffering, because it's temporary. The eternal soul, there's not any real happiness trying to enjoy temporary things. That's sukha, material happiness. Pious life brings sukha. When we give in charity, when we're honest, when we're humble for material purposes, when we're respectful, when we're moral, we get sukha. It's good. We get happiness in return. That's the way the laws of karma are. And when we engage, when we lie, or when we cheat, or when we're arrogant, dukkha, suffering. It's all within the three modes of nature. Now, according to the scriptures, we must come to the level of living in sattva guna before we could transcend the modes of nature. So from the bhakti perspective, living with humility, morality, honesty are necessary qualifications because they bring us to sattva guna. But on that sattva guna, we simultaneously are offering everything for the service of Krishna, understanding we're the eternal servants of Krishna, and with whatever we do, we understand the connection we have through the chanting of the holy names. But without bhakti, without devotional service, morality or immorality, they both are very limited states where we have to suffer. So when we actually become self-realized, when we actually taste even a little tiny drop of devotion, real devotion to Krishna, there's nothing to be envious about in this world, and there's nothing to be arrogant about. Because it's all based on the false ego. It's all symptoms of forgetfulness of Krishna. In such a state, when we actually understand Krishna consciousness, there's no more envy, there's no more arrogance, there's joy. Sri Advaita was the greatest of the Vaishnavas. He was constantly immersed in Krishna and constantly immersed in the joy of kirtan and japa. And he understood in this age of Kali, this is the most powerful, accessible means for people to attain Krishna's love. So he was feeling such deep compassion for the conditioned souls. Paradukkha dukkhi. He was feeling our suffering. He was seeing not only the time at the place of Navadvip 500 years ago, he was seeing into the future. He was seeing 2015. in Mumbai, and every other year in every other place, and every other heart of every other living being, because he's Mahavishnu. Do you know why we exist? Because he glanced. Materially, we exist because we're eternal souls. But material, the cosmic manifestation, he exhaled, and the entire universe is manifested from his breath. And within the cloud of the Maha-tattva, with a single moment of a glance, he impregnated the cosmic manifestation with all the living beings who were meant to take birth. And then he became Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Brahma came and actually made, and within each universe made the particular facilities of the bodies and the planets and everything in which we would take birth. But the seeds of all the living beings would glance. So Sri Advaita, he knows everything. And he's seeing from the perspective of one who loves God. He's in the role of a devotee. And with his compassion, he wanted Krishna to personally appear to give the spontaneous love of Vrindavan to the people of this age who were the most in need. Such a compassion. The people who were the worst, he wanted Krishna to come and give them the best. So it is described that Sri Advaita, in his prayers, he remembered a verse from the Gautamiya Tantra, which describes if someone offers a tulsi leaf and water with love and devotion to the Lord will fulfill that person's desires. So he had such faith in that verse. He spent practically his life from then on offering Lord Krishna the water of the Ganges and tulsi leaves and manjaris. And while he was making the offerings, he was loudly crying in compassion for all of us. Krishna, come. Give them your mercy. At around that same time, Haridas Thakur had come to the Shantipur area where Advaitacharya was living. We read in Chaitanya Charitamrita how Haridas Thakur, one of the reasons he was moving from place to place is he was always being abused. He was always being discriminated against. He was born from an untouchable family by social caste standards. And yet he was such a great devotee of Krishna. In Benapole, he was just living in a forest, chanting. But because he was such an attractive, compassionate person, so many people were accepting him like their guru. And Ramchandra Khan was so envious of him, he couldn't tolerate it. Ramchandra Khan was a very, very wealthy person from a very high caste. He was very learned. He was very proud of his spiritual merits. And he couldn't, this untouchable is more popular than me. People are going to him for self-realization. He must be destroyed. So he sent a prostitute to come in the middle of the night to violate the chastity of Haridas. He was determined. But the prostitute became a great devotee and accepted Haridas as her guru and shaved her head and just put on a white gown. And Haridas said, you stay here in my little kutir and worship Tulsi and chant 300,000 names a day, and I'll go. And he left. He went to Chandpur, and there he was insulted by a Brahmin named Chakravarti. He was insulting him so terribly. So then he went to Fuliagram and Shantipur, and he met Advaitacharya. This is really important to understand because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught by his example and the example of his devotees. Sri Advaita Prabhu was performing his puja of Ganga Jal and Tulsi offerings. When Haridas Thakur came, Advaitacharya immediately welcomed him, and they became the most intimate, loving friends and associates. Haridas Thakur, in the same spirit as Sri Advaita Prabhu, was calling for Lord Krishna to descend to show his mercy to this world. And his worship was the constant chanting of the holy names. Advaitacharya was the topmost leader of the Brahmin community. Haridas Thakur